This one is whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that we are still here? Whose fault is it that we're here at all? Is it Anthony DeBay's fault? No. Because he's crazy. He's a sociopath. And that's what they do. They just have victims. And they make up whatever they want and see if they can sell it. Is it Deputy Denise's fault? I don't blame him either. Because Deputy Denise is simply doing his job to the level that's expected of him by this prosecutor's office. You heard that they thought it wasn't a good enough investigation. If they wanted more proof, they just send him back there. Deputy, go back there and send out the evidence tags. Have somebody stand up there and get a photo of the top of that wall so we can see what it looks like. So we can review this evidence prior to the issuance of a warrant. Send out an evidence tag. Let's see what kind of fingerprints on the wall. Because if there's only your fingerprints, Deputy Denise, well, that would clearly indicate that this probably didn't happen. This might just be the fantasy of some deranged homophobe. But they don't. Because this is just the standard that they've set in Oakland County for their sheriff's deputies. And who suffers when they set those standards? Is it just the accused? No. We all suffer. Because we all suffer because that means more innocent people accused, more innocent people forced to stand trial, and sadly enough, more innocent people who maybe are mistakenly convicted by well-meaning jurors. And so, whose fault is it that we're here? It's this prosecutor's fault. Because let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Because I don't know which prosecutor signed this initial warrant. But let's just say it wasn't her. And let's just give her the further benefit of the doubt that she at one point thought she had a case that she could prove. Is there any doubt is what we've seen here, is what the state of their case is? That their only witness is a proven perjurer. But of course it's not proven to them because he didn't get up there and say, yes, Mr. Ambrose, I have lied, I've committed perjury. Yes.
You remember the cop said that. He's like, I don't know that he committed perjury because he never stood up here and said, I committed perjury.
Right.
It's like, you ever get people that confess to you?
Honestly, you don't know that the crime occurred because you didn't have them stand up and say, I did it.
Right. So therefore, we got, that's the standard. I mean, it's ridiculous. But she knows the truth. Do you really think that she even has even the slightest belief that you're going to convict this man? She, as you heard from the deputy, is the only one with the power to stop this train wreck. This train wreck. But she won't. And you have to just ask yourself, again, why doesn't she? Why do they do everything to protect the perjury? Anthony DeBay's perjury. And even, however you want to say it, I mean, I think Deputy Dean's a nice guy. I personally like him. I'm offended by his investigation. I'm offended by his testimony and his choices that he makes up there to make every excuse and try to protect Anthony DeBay and try to rearrange, the clear evidence and his prior testimony in order to help the prosecutor. That's offensive. But, again, the prosecutor has probably said this conversation with him. Wow, Deputy Denise, this bed's closed. I'm sure you took a picture before you moved it, because that's what you do, right? Well, yeah. So, can we assume that it was closed when you got there, and the other ones are open? Because that's real significant. Well, okay, that makes sense. Doesn't bother to, read his own testimony and his own police reports, because now, in his hope that we'll all miss it. So it is the prosecutor's fault we're here. And she can point somewhere else, maybe, point upstairs and say, well, I don't have a choice. I'm just a foot soldier. But we cannot allow that to stand. We cannot, as a community, allow this to stand because that's what they, not to make this comparison, but that's what the foot soldier said. She's a high-ranking foot soldier too, okay? This is a serious charge, so that means they get the higher power, the people with more experience, closer to the top of the food chain. But that's the same excuses the people, the criminals at the Nuremberg trials made. Hey, we were just following orders. There comes a time when people of conscience have to stop following orders and start doing what they know to be right and following their oath that they had taken when they became a prosecutor to seek justice, not to seek enhancement of their conviction rates, because that's all this is. And see, this verdict, obviously, this verdict means everything to Brian. Obviously, this is his life. But this verdict is bigger than just Brian. And it's bigger than just Brian because there's a line in the courtroom. And on one side of the line, we have prosecutors who will breach their ethical duties in order to get convictions, and police officers who choose not to do investigations, and when they get up on the stand, they'll say whatever they need to say to help the government. You have them on this side of the line. But your verdict can help them move them over to here. By letting them clearly that you will not tolerate this as a community, that if they're going to bring people to court, do it honestly and ethically. That the police officers out there do a real investigation before you submit it. Because otherwise this freight train can get out of control. And so you see, your verdict has a power to change. And maybe they just need a nudge. Because do I believe that deep down in their core that they're good people? Yes. Do I believe they've been tainted by doing things with the status quo for the last dozen years, and this is just acceptable here? This is acceptable? Yes. But because deep down, not what they've done here. What they've done here is horrible. But, I'm sure they both have families and people that they love and care about. Would never let somebody that they love and care about be treated like this. But maybe they just need a nudge, or maybe they need a good kick in the ass to get over to the other side where good prosecutors and good police officers are. Maybe. And this verdict will help them get there. And we are all witnesses to what happened here. All 13 of you, Judge Warren, myself, everybody that's been in this out here, are all witnesses to the perjury, all witnesses to this prosecutorial abuse, all witnesses to this injustice. And as witnesses, as citizens of conscience, you all have a responsibility to make sure that this doesn't happen again. You have a protection. First responsibility is to save this innocent man's life. But beyond that, because I was talking to my friend about this case. He's like, Dan, why do you care? Why do you care what happens other than your client being acquitted? And I said to him, I care because I live in this county, and my friends and family are in this county, and this has been happening way too long. It just has never been this clear before, this egregious. And with this clearness and egregiousness, if the people don't say something, nothing will change. But you have a voice. You have a voice beyond this trial. And if you use this voice collectively, if 13, not 12, because one of you is going to be an alternate, but all 13 of you say, I'm sure many of you become friends. And I'm sure that all of you are connected through a friendship that's been developed. You might not be directly friends with the 1-3 over from you, but you're friends with the juror next to you, and she's friends with the juror 2 over. So you're all connected within a degree of separation. And I'd ask you to use that connectivity, to do something, to use these 4 days that we've been here, to do something bigger. And that bigger thing is, on this page that you can't see, because you didn't have time because you partied too hard to go to Kinko's.
I was working.
But you'll see the case caption, which says, The People versus Brian Reed. And that's a little offensive, because she's putting you into that group as being the ones bringing the accusations too. Judge Michael Warren's courtroom. Case number. Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Kelly Collins. For the defense attorney, Daniel Ambrose Law. And down here, this is the address, 1200 North Telegraph of the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. And this is her name, Jessica Cooper. And this is her phone number. And if all 13 of you send her a letter outlining what you witnessed, and maybe you could ask Judge Warren, maybe he could make an exception because he told you your notes would be destroyed after this trial. Maybe he'll make an exception for this one time. That maybe he'll let you keep your notes, so you can write an accurate account of what you witnessed here for the last 4 days. And if all of you send that in to her, but then you also have to copy the Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press, and the Oakland Press, then maybe somebody will start caring. Maybe, just maybe, you have the power to stop another tragedy, another hate crime at the hands of your government from happening again. Maybe not. Maybe they just say, who cares? They take it and they take it, they rip them in half because they don't care. Because their conviction rates are more important. And they think that you're just a little upset about it right now because 4 days of your life were used to try to clear up this disaster that they created. But maybe, if your voice is loud and it's unified and strong, it has. That's how change happens.